All right, welcome back. Hey, this is the part two of becoming a better listing agent here at the end of 2024. So thanks for watching, being here, supporting the channel, sending this to your friends that are in the real estate business to help them get better. This is my gift to the real estate world of knowledge that I've acquired over the last 22 years in real estate, 23 years, I guess, trying to help others succeed in this great business. It's provided a lot of amazing years in my life. So happy to give back this way. So, all right, let's get started. What I wrote down is if you are stagnant, if you are in a complacent mindset, if you are treading water, if you are having some problems thinking through what to do next to make a great living in real estate, to have the success in real estate that so many are after, then I want you to think about this. Every day that you are stagnant, if you are treading water, if you are in a complacent mindset, you're not moving your business forward. And so therefore you're going to stay stuck. And there's a lot of people that have been stuck for months. I'd request that you snap out of it somehow, some way, and quit focusing on the past, quit focusing on the challenges that you have today, and start focusing on serving more people. Serving one person for that matter, other than serving the negative mindset that you're in. So I hope this helps a lot of people. I know the real estate business is challenging at times. It's super frustrating at times. And there's a lot of people that just get absolutely overwhelmed and they stay stuck, they stay stagnant, they stay treading water, trying to figure out how to get their next deal, and they're not moving their business forward, and they're not moving their mindset forward. And at some point, you have to start moving forward of saying, hey, I'm just going to pick the phone, and I'm going to call 5 people today. And tomorrow I'm going to call 10, and the next day I'm going to call 20. And by moving forward just by a little bit each day, each setback, saying, you know what? Okay, done. I'm moving forward. Keep moving forward. I said that on the end of the last piece there. Every seller at times is going to be a little challenging, and that's okay. Every seller, it's going to be challenging at times, and it's almost their job to be challenging, right? And think about every seller that is kind of putting you in check. They're putting the pressure on you to perform. They have a price in mind. They have an objective that they've either verbalized or not verbalized with you of what their real intentions are. Most sellers, they share that with you, but there's always fear present in a seller. Is my house really going to sell? I don't care what they say up front. They're still fearful of not selling their property, going through all the work it takes in order to get a property up to par every single day for showings. And if their price isn't going to happen, they need real estate agents like you, of course, that are going to tell them the truth. And you will gain so much more respect, so much more business in the future if you start telling people the truth. Of, hey, your price of $500,000 is not realistic in this marketplace. We can try the strategy for 30 days, but if we have 0 showings, we're at least 10% overpriced. If we have a few showings in that 30-day period, then we're probably 5%, somewhere in that ballpark. Could be 4%, could be 6%, somewhere in that ballpark, in order to get an offer. So think about that as a guideline. And I learned that from my dad, that was a real estate broker for 40-something years. He started his career in Huntington Beach, California. My uncle got him into the business, and my uncle is still licensed in San Diego, also a great real estate leader in the marketplace. And now he's retired, but well, somewhat retired. I'm sure he still does a few deals here and there. But think about that is if I have 0 showings, I'm probably somewhere in the ballpark of 10% overpriced, because there's always somebody willing and able to buy a property that they have perceived value in, but they're just stopped because of the price. So think about that. All right, let's see here. If you start working on it, and I'll probably do another video on this, being versatile. How's your versatility in dealing with people, right? Every seller is going to be different. There's going to be challenges that come up, but a lot of it is being versatile in communication and understanding communication styles. What are they saying? What are they not saying? And how should I communicate with those sellers in order to make sure that they know I'm working every single day to get their property sold, and make sure that they know I'm working every day to market their property and to try to get the highest price possible with the best terms possible? And because when we're selling real estate, it's not always about price. A lot of real estate agents get confused about that. They think the seller is only after price. The sellers, they're after price, yes, but solving the problem is always more important. They don't want the property anymore. That's why they've signed a listing contract. That's why they've hired you in order to market the home, to find the buyers in order to get that property sold. They've fallen out of love with the property. They have financial obligations that need to go somewhere else. They want the funds to go somewhere else. Maybe they can't depreciate the property anymore. Whatever the case may be, think about that. So price could, if you're striving to get that extra $10,000 for their property, let's say the house would sell. I'm going to use the $500,000 price point again. Let's say the price of the property is listed at $500,000. And you're like, man, I know it's worth $500,000. And if you dropped it $10,000 or $15,000, you're going to get an offer. And potentially it sells for $475,000. Is it worth that to that seller? Did you fail? Did you fail to do your job? No, you did not, because you got the buyers to write an offer. That is a win. That is success. Now you've got to finish the whole transaction of getting it accepted, and all of those are different skill sets. We'll talk about those later on in our show. But I want you to think about that. Is that seller going to be happy at $475,000, knowing that they can take the balance, they take their equity or whatever and move it into another property? They can pay their bills. They can send their kids to college. They can go on that vacation, whatever the case may be. They're going to spend the money on. So is that a success? Yes, it is. Are they going to hold that against you on reviews and all that of you said it was worth $500,000? Well, on paper, a lot of times the appraiser can come out and say, hey, this thing's worth 500 or 5.25. Does not mean the market value for that property, right? An appraised value versus market value for that property at that moment in time isn't worth the same amount of money. It's not. A lot of times it's worth less, and sometimes it's worth more depending on the market conditions. So we need to think about that. What does a success look like to the sellers? And are they going to be happy with this money? Well, maybe they're not 100% happy, but if they're 95% happy because they got to move on, that's a huge win, and you are doing your job when you do that. So always be truthful to your sellers. And having the versatility to communicate that with them is going to put you ahead of the competition. What do you think the sellers are more interested in hearing on a listing presentation? All about you, or all about their property and what it's going to take to sell the property? That's right. For all the intelligent people out there, they want to hear about their property. They want to know how much it's worth, how long it's going to take to sell, what you're going to do to get their property sold, right? And when can they have their money? That's really what it boils down to. So they don't really care about you and your life story, and they don't care about making friends. There's a lot of agents that go on listing presentations. Oh, I make friends with all my sellers first. Well, in my opinion, that is the wrong mentality. You're trying to serve your ego. You're trying to serve yourself, trying to make friends to buy the business through friendship. Well, why don't you buy the business through telling the truth and doing a great job for them and the rest of your clients, and then you'll get the business automatically, right? Think about that. I'd rather be known for my professionalism and my marketing that is top notch, that allows me to sell the houses at top prices, my negotiation ability, rather than, oh, this is my friend and I listed with them because they're my friend. Like, it's demeaning, in my opinion. I'd rather be like, hey, this is a badass real estate agent. I hired them because their marketing's top notch. I hired them because they're negotiating. They didn't discount their commissions up front. They fought for a 3% on their side, and they're even saying I should potentially, if the right offer comes about, pay 2.5% or 3% to the buyer's agent to make that deal, that transaction go well. Now, I'd rather be known for that than this person's nice. Nobody gives a shit that you're nice when they want to sell their property. They want to sell their property. So think about that. What do you want to be known for? I want to be known for negotiation. All right. So hopefully that helps you. At least maybe it challenges you in your thinking. Because when I first learned real estate sales, I thought we had to be friends with everybody. And the fact of the matter is that there's a lot of people that hired me in the beginning of my career because I was aggressive. I had a tenacious spirit, and I was going to do whatever it took to sell those homes. And that's why I got hired, right? I didn't get hired for my good looks, although I would hire me for my good looks. All right, so think about this. That was a joke. All right, here's one of the mistakes that I made in my career, and it helped push me to a top level for sure, is I was trying to be number one in my market. And what that did is it helped in many, many ways, and which I accomplished, and it hurt some other things in my career. It did hurt some net worth because I was blindsided by not investing enough in real estate during that time frame. I should have bought more and more property. We've got to look at what our intentions are. And real estate is very consuming to real estate agents. Like, we work in the evenings, we work at night, 2:00 in the morning, we wake up, shoot, I've got to do this. On the weekends, it disrupts your family life a lot of times. And we've got to figure out up front, along with our daily schedule, and we already talked a little bit about that, is what is our goal? What is our goal to be in this real estate game? Well, my goal has changed over the course of the years, and hopefully I can share with you some of the lessons that I've learned. And one of those lessons is my goal is to take, 1.5 days off every single week. If I can get 2, great. But my goal is not to work 7 days a week. So I'm going to set up my systems. I'm going to set up my processes. I'm going to set up my daily schedule to support that goal. And if I don't do that, then it's going to take away from my personal time, which is going to affect my life. And that's not going to happen because I'm in control. So consider that. If you're striving to become number one, there's shortcuts to do it. And those shortcuts mean giving up profitability. And if you can afford to do that, and that's ultimately your goal, you don't care about the profit, then okay, do that. But play a little game with yourself. Play the game of where do I want to be in 3 years and how much money do I want to have? How much money am I going to earn if I continue this path? And if I wasn't number one, if I was number 3 and I got to keep an extra $100, $200, $300, $400, $500,000 in my pocket, then is that a better win than being number one in my market or number one in my neighborhood? Think about that. Real estate agents overspend all the time because they're not willing to pick up the phone. They're not willing to do the work that's required in order to not spend all the dollars they're spending on marketing that doesn't work. And I'm sharing that with you because the lead cost is phenomenal. Like it's extraordinarily expensive these days. Just to generate a regular listing lead is probably $30 on Facebook. I know there's a lot of people that can get them down to $6 and all that stuff, but not volume. So if you're gonna get volume, it's 20 to 30 bucks a lead on pay-per-click. It's $20, $30 a lead, a good lead with good contact information on Facebook leads. And if you're gonna buy Zillow leads, it's $400 to like $850 for one of those Zillow leads, or you're gonna pay 25% referral fee. At least you don't have the upfront money. I'd rather pay the referral fee. So think about that. Is what am I giving up trying to become this mega team, this number one in the marketplace, all that stuff? How much profitability am I giving up? And that's something to really consider. And I would encourage you to consider that. Until you can master skills and prospecting skills, conversation, dialogue, scripts, and skills of listing real estate in high volume, that's working every single day, Monday through Friday, maybe Saturday mornings or something, prospecting for listings. Until you can continue doing that over the time, over a couple years period, maybe it's 1 year, depending on who you are and how much effort you're putting into this business, then most of these real estate teams are ego driven. And the reason why I say that is because there's very few prospecting for listings real estate teams. There's very few out there. Most of them are buying internet leads, and their turnover on trying to grow this massive team is constant. And most of these teams are not profitable, unfortunately, right? I mean, there's a time with the markets increasing and, every lead, every 10 leads, you're going to close 2 deals in an upswing market. But every lead's signing up on 10, 15 different properties during that time, or websites, signing up on 10 to 15 different websites during that time frame to try to figure out how to buy a property when the market has low inventory and is increasing. And there's a time there where we're increasing like 3% a week in valuation. So it was a hot market. And so you've got to figure out how to develop those skills and keep those skills up. And most of it, we already talked about on the first video. And then on this one is your daily schedule and the intention of prospecting and protecting that time frame. Every team leader, I'm going to talk about teams in this, and every solo real estate agent needs to develop their own team. And you can use title and escrow and as part of your team. You probably need an assistant to do all the minutiae stuff, or at least a transaction coordinator. You probably do 40 transactions, maybe 50 transactions with just a transaction coordinator. And that's probably an agent working 50 hours a week. Then you're going to be highly, highly profitable, by the way. If you're going to be a team leader and you're going to grow a team, 2 or 3 buyers agents, and you've got one assistant that is, maybe you call her an assistant, she's basically a transaction coordinator, and you're the main lead generator, that's okay too, depending on the splits. But if you have high splits at 80-20 splits for your team, or 70-30, and you're not at least getting 50-50 or setting up a showing agent model, you're going to be at a disadvantage when it comes to profitability. You're paying too much if you're generating all the leads and taking all the risk on online lead generation, paying for all the systems, Boomtown and KV Core and Ylopo and all these other ones. So you need to consider, like, how do I value building a team versus profitability? And what am I really after? Because at the end of the day, most successful real estate agents are after profit. And they're after doing a great job and taking the vacations that they've earned and investing in their future. So think about that. Do I really need a ego team? I call them ego teams, to do 100 transactions a year, and that team leader is making $100,000 a year, right? Doesn't make any sense whatsoever, because that team leader, normally, if they have enough skills to do 100 transactions through people, they just haven't figured out how to raise the profitability. And we can help you with that. We'll talk a little bit about profitability another time. So The biggest thing is you want to become a strong listing agent nearly every single month versus a strong buyer's agent, because the time that it takes is half. It takes about 38 hours to handle a buyer transaction versus about 18, 19 hours total in order to handle a listing. And that's including an open house or two, right? So you can leverage your time and the profitability skyrockets when you focus on listings. But you've got to work every single day to become a better listing agent. That's why you're at this channel. So thanks a lot for being here, by the way. All right. You've got to do what it takes to start learning how not to be unproductive. Okay. You've got to focus on being productive every day. Social media, man, is so detrimental. And I spend a lot of time on social media that I'm actually pulling back tremendously, because it does affect productivity. And I'm not getting the jump that I used to in my business. And partially it's probably market. So I found that being on the phones is going to impact my business a lot more. It's going to move the needle faster than trying to get business off social media. So consider that, right? Social media should be an outbound content, fueling content on social media for other people to watch and letting them raise their hand, versus you consuming all the social media all day long, 6, 7, 8 hours a day, which some people in the business are doing. And that is a challenge if you're going to be a profitable listing agent, right? Okay. Behavior is so important. So consider all of that. How about what behavior do you have right now that you're constantly doing that needs to change? So social media, I just gave that example. How about not role playing and not practicing some of these scripts or handling objections that are coming, right? An objection on how much do you charge for commission is coming. That question right there is coming on every listing appointment, typically, like 90% of them. The next one is, how long is it going to take my home to sell? And the next one is, what are you going to do to sell my house? And what are you going to do to sell my house is, why should I hire you, right? So those are the questions that you really should focus on and change your behavior to answer those all the time, right? And if your seller followed you around for a week, let's say they followed you around for a week, are they going to be impressed? Are they going to be like, man, I'm excited to pay this guy $50,000 to sell my house? Or are they going to be like, man, I made a huge mistake signing that contract for this guy to sell my house? They don't do anything. They're always at the bar or whatever the case may be. Maybe they don't even get up till 10 o'clock in the morning. Like, think about that. If your sellers followed you around, would they be impressed? Growth is always, well, I would say always. I would say most of the time it's painful if it's going to be worth it. If you're on this channel still after checking our stuff out, I hope you're learning things, and I hope this is speaking to you in order to change some of those habits and start growing through some of the pain and discomfort that you're experiencing in your business. And even if not, if you're already hugely successful, and I know there's some tips in here that are helping you get better as a listing agent. I think you've got to make a commitment to getting better every single day. And that's part of your education. You're learning on YouTube, you're learning on social media, Instagram and stuff, some of these reels that you're watching, but you're getting better every single day and you're implementing what you've learned. So don't forget, implement what you are learning. Your mindset's got to be positive, and you've got to practice those skills and increase the good behaviors that you're learning through this, and be committed to that, right? One of the things that you really want to stand out in front of your clients is being a professional. Being a professional in the speech that you're using, being a professional in the dress, what you're wearing to those listing appointments, having a clean car. being a professional in what you're showing on social media, because that's an interview as well. Being professional as all of your marketing, of course, and your sellers want to be excited about hiring you. They want to show their friends and their neighbors that they hired a professional that's going to get the job done. There's a pride to that. And so that's why there's a lot of real estate agents that show up to listing appointments and they're never going to get hired, because they don't match what the seller's idea of a great listing agent looks like. So they want a salesperson. They want somebody that's going to go out there and get it and dig up buyers for their property and try to maximize the dollars for their home. So think about that as you navigate through this next few months of your business. And am I impressing my sellers? Every single day, are your intentions to serve your clients? Because if you're not prospecting, if you're not trying to dig up buyers for your listings, I don't think you're doing the job correctly. And a lot of people just stick it in the MLS and leave it be. If you're not running ads, if you're not talking to other real estate professionals promoting your property, then you're basically getting paid to enter it into a computer system that will shoot out to everybody and wait for a paycheck. That's not the right way to go about this business. And a lot of people think that's the way to do it. And you could probably win 20% of the time doing that way if the price is right. But I've put together so many transactions because I knew the listing agents. If I was representing buyers, I knew the listing agents, and whether I reached out to them or they reached out to me, I was curious about a property that I saw on social media or whatever, and vice versa. They reached out to me, hey, tell me about this property that you just listed, right? The networking piece is huge. It will give you a competitive advantage in the marketplace by understanding that those agents are also the key, not just an MLS system. Back to what we talked about earlier today about there's a lot of people stagnant in their business, they're struggling and all of that. But think about it this way. You're going to have a story to tell when you pull yourself out of the stagnation of your business right now. You're going to feel immense pride of when you get up every single day and you start working and gathering up more listings, helping buyers get into houses. That story, that climb in order towards success, in order to achieve the success that you're after, is going to feel so good. I want you focusing on that. I want you to focus on being more competent as a listing agent. The strength of a listing agent, I think, the mental strength of a listing agent is going to increase through all the challenges, through those tough conversations that you're having with sellers, and they don't want to lower the price. And they had 0 showings for 30 days. That's a challenge, right? Those are tough conversations. And you've got to be a strong agent in order to tell them the truth and face that phone call. They're gonna respect you a lot more by giving them a call and say, hey, I know we haven't had showings. This is what I've done to market your property. This is how many conversations I've had. And doing so of marketing your property, trying to find you a buyer, and it's not working. I take full responsibility of not working, but I think we need to adjust the price so my plan, my proven strategy, my plan can actually work. And I can get this thing to work with your help of lowering the price, $50,000. Be smart enough to do your job, right? Be smart enough with intention to do your job every single day. And that's going to just give you a huge competitive advantage in the marketplace. All right, don't even worry about failing every single day. I just want you to keep going. Just keep going. Keep moving forward. I'm going to do another video and we'll wrap up this series. It'll be a 3-part series total. And I hope you guys are enjoying this and learning something, getting more excited and motivated to go out there and talk to clients and do what you do best, is list property. All right, this is Brent Conley. Hey, if you've enjoyed this, share it with a friend, send out those links, subscribe to my channel. Have a great day.